Joining me now is Barry Tramel of the Oklahoman, who is currently in Miami getting set for the Orange Bowl matchup with Clemson. Barry, thanks for joining and welcome to the Media Spotlight.
Glad to do it.
Now, you made some noise up here in Connecticut after your interview with West Virginia play-by-play man Tony Caridi last week when you mentioned UConn being, quote, back on the table for the Big 12 in terms of realignment. What made you come to this conclusion that Connecticut could potentially be a fit?
Well, I think the Big 12 always wanted to move to the east if it expanded because of the addition of West Virginia. So, I think that's always been sort of an option. Connecticut's football futility the last few years has sort of soured people on the Huskies as a candidate. But under Bobbiaco, they've certainly gotten better, shown some signs of progress. And, I just think the Big 12 is a little bit more serious about expansion than it has been in the last few years. I'm not saying they're close, but I think they are considering it more than they have been. And, it's causing, I think, them to take some serious looks at a lot of the candidates. And there's a lot of things about Connecticut that I think would appeal to the Big 12. Certainly geography is an issue, but the fact that it's a school that is a state institution, the University of, a very solid academic institution, good athletics, particularly basketball, an interesting market. So, there's some challenges, but I think Connecticut at least can sit down at the table and you can make a case that they definitely belong in the discussion.
Now, in the interview, you said you had talked to some of the school presidents and athletic directors in the Big 12 regarding which way the conference leans. Have you heard anything from any of those sources indicating UConn could be a direction the conference goes in?
Well, nothing. Yes, but nothing. Nothing for certain, or even someone championing UConn. But definitely UConn on the list. In fact, that's when I put UConn back on the list, is after I heard from someone within the conference that mentioned them as a possibility. So I think Connecticut's definitely on the radar.
All right, and you mentioned they are just one of a handful of schools that the conference is looking at. Being from Big 12 territory, how do you compare UConn's resume to some of the others that are on the table? I know you mentioned location already. UConn currently has a similar travel situation, being in the American playing schools from Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana. So how do they really match up compared to the other candidates?
Well, everybody knows who they are. We're talking about Cincinnati. We're talking about Brigham Young, potentially Boise State. Less likely would be one of the Florida schools, Central or South Florida. Houston is probably still in the discussion, although there's a lot of anti-Houston sentiment in the Big 12. I think it's a question of the geography is a problem, no doubt about it. But it's a problem now with West Virginia. You might be able to work out a deal where on basketball, the Connecticut and the West Virginians both make a road trip. They'll play two games at once when they come out west. When one of the schools goes to West Virginia, let's say they also go to Connecticut. So there's ways you could sort of work around it. It's not ideal, but it's sort of a landscape that we've been given. So I think you just sort of have to roll with it and make the best of it. And don't discount what I said earlier about the prestige. They really, I think they really do. They really would like a state, a flagship university. They like the concept of a flagship university. So, Connecticut's got a very solid academic standing, and the University of in a New England state is not. It sounds foreign to the Big 12, but it also, from a prestige and an academic standing, it also sounds pretty good.
That all definitely bodes well for UConn. I'm talking with the Oklahoman's Barry Tramel. Clearly, no one has a crystal ball, but from the conversations you have had, if the conference could come to a consensus shortly after the college football playoff, maybe, what would the new Big 12 look like in terms of how many schools and when, in your mind, based on conversations, would expansion occur? Is it sooner rather than later?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a. This is a process that has no timeline or deadline, because it's twofold. One, they got to get a consensus on the need for expansion, and then after that, then who do you expand to? So it's not a. I don't think there's going to be any quick trigger decisions. I don't see any way they would go past 12. There's no appetite for 14. They actually like the conciseness of 10. They like that, but the politics being the way they are in college athletics right now, the 12 does not work. I mean, the 10 does not work very well in terms of football. So, I mean, I think there's growing sentiment that they're going to have to get to 12, but they're not there yet, and they have to get there before they can decide whether to go Connecticut, Cincinnati, whether they can decide to go Brigham Young, Boise State. Mm-hmm. So whichever, a combination thereof. So I certainly don't think there's going to be any. I don't think there's going to be any change in the Big 12 for the 2016 season. I guess we could get to. We definitely could get to 12 by 2017, mm-hmm. but I think it's going to be at least that.
Now, switching gears to the event you are covering this weekend, the first of the two semifinals of the college football playoff in Miami. How has the selection process to choose the schools being selected for the playoff shifted the conference's thinking on realignment, specifically by the likes of some of the bigger schools, notably Texas and OU?
Well, it's not just Texas; it's everybody, and it's changed their thinking an incredible amount. Anybody that wasn't on board with expansion at least is willing to talk about it, because for 2 straight years the Big 12 has come out on the wrong end of the last Sunday. Now Oklahoma got in, but the Sooners fell in the rankings. They fell from 3 to 4. Mm-hmm. Last year, TCU fell from 3 to 6 and fell out. And, if Stanford beats Oregon on November 14th, by 2, late 2-point conversion, if Stanford makes that 2-point conversion and wins in overtime, is the Big 12 on the outside looking in again? The answer might be yes.
Yeah. Yep.
So what the Big 12 has realized that its current setup is not conducive to impressing the committee. And football is at the forefront of all conference expansion. So definitely the college football playoff has changed the thinking within the Big 12. Everybody still is not on board, but everyone at least is willing to admit that something must be done.
Now, final question for Barry Tramel of the Oklahoman. Heading into Friday's matchup with Clemson, from an outsider's point of view, I feel this is a favorable game for the Sooners. Do you get the same sense leading into kickoff against Clemson?
Oh, I think it's 50-50. I think all the games are 50-50, for crying out loud. Once you get this good, when you get to this level, anybody in the top 5 or 6 on a neutral field, I don't think there's a super team, an historic team in college football. So some of it gets down to matchups, but this one doesn't really affect that because these things are similar in styles. So it's really, I think, a 50-50 game. Probably gets down to who tackles the other team's quarterback better. So, you're not playing LSU in New Orleans, not playing Southern Cal in the Rose Bowl, so there's Clemson. It's only, it's significantly closer than Oklahoma, but it's not like the Sooners are in Clemson's backyard. Mm. So I think it's a fair fight and an even matchup. And, the Sooners have played well, and they can't ask for anything more than that, a chance. So I think it's a 50-50 game.
All right, thanks, Barry, for joining. Definitely enjoy the game on Friday afternoon, and I look forward to touching base down the line as potential realignment rumors heat up.
All right, good luck to the Huskies.